Okay, hello everyone to the third Kiali sprint meeting on Friday the 13th, which means every demo will just work perfectly. We have three demos today. First is Lucas, then Edgar, and Mass is then going third with a short demonstration of the new visualization of circuit breakers. And then I'll stop the recording and restart it, and then I'll show some little prototyping that I have been done, which is mostly for Serena to get input about it. Of course, for everyone, but I want to hear Serena's input. So, Lucas, why don't you grab the screen and start?
Okay, hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you see my
yes.
Kiali browser? Okay, cool. Thank you. So I would like to, in 5 minutes, to tell you about the new feature that we brought in this sprint to Kiali. So basically, we are introducing, or we are progressing in our integration with distributed tracing with Jagger. So we have started in the previous sprint when we select a service just to be able to jump and select that services into the Jagger console. But in this sprint, we are working towards to do this integration more close. And now you can see that we have for NTF for navigation, and we can just do inside Kiali, we can perform searches about dependencies, about the tracing of the application or the services that we have. And the plan is to progress more, add more value in this kind of integration in the following sprints. Another feature that I would like to show you is that, for example, we have in this graph, I have the Istio book info demo application, and we can see all the traffic, all the telemetry, and all the information with the dependencies and the relationships baked from the telemetry. So in the case when we install new services, for example, in my case, I created a new service and another root rules, and once that these services are deployed into my system, if I refresh, now I can see that I have a new services here, for example, a version 2, but I don't have yet traffic over it. So I don't have information about these services. So we are now visualizing this kind of services to show to the user, okay, I have a new services, but this services is yet unused, so no one is accessing to it. So we are marking this with this dotted line. I would like to also to install more services. Let me see if this works. It's a tutorial, so we are going to add more services. Okay, so all the new services are initializing on my system, and okay, when those are running, okay, seeing that are running, so now I can refresh my console, and you will see that we have new services which I don't have further information, so I don't know how to map it into the graph. So for example, in the details, it's quite easy to group it into the details because it's something that, okay, I have a new versions and this version is not yet used. But in this one, you will see at the top of the graph as we don't have yet information. So as soon as we have more, okay, so for some reasons it's not working, this one. As soon as when we have more information, the graph is going to update and it's going to show all the connection between the services. So note that this one, for example, we have a different, and these services are, the edges are marked in black, what means that they don't have traffic in the last minute, but they had traffic in the past. But in this case, for example, the service 2 is still in dotted line, with meaning that this has not traffic. And you say, why that may happen? So one of the thing that we can do is to click into the details and to check that this specific service, the booking detail services, has a Istio rule that say all the traffic is going to be routed into the version 1. So if you have new versions of these services, detail 2, detail 3, those versions are not going to be reached, so they will be shown into the graph with the dotted line. So another feature that or improvement that we have included is that now we can differentiate into the services list those of services that are have an Istio sidecar deployed or which not. So it could be quite easy also to filter. Imagine that I want to filter 2 namespace and I want to just check what are the services that have Istio deployed or which not. So from these two namespace, I want to select what are the services that for some reason, for some error, whatever, they didn't deploy the Istio sidecar. This could be quite interesting information. So another improvement that we show this in this sprint is that we have improved the health information of the services. We are combining what is the deployment status for these pods, what is the envoy health status, the metrics coming from envoy to show this one. As well, we can see that in my demo environment, the customer and the preference services has some problems that I need to investigate. And also this information is extended in the health in the details page about this. So the idea is also to be improving and to be increasing this information and adding more information, but we are just adding this new feature for this sprint. And I think that is all from my side. So hope that you like it.
Thank you, Lucas. So Edgar's next, and I just learned in an agile way that the Juka is going after mass, so be prepared. Edgar, take it away.
Okay, let me share. Let's see if this works. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Can you see my screen?
I can.
Right. Okay. So, right, thank you. So here, my demo is also a little short. Most of the work we have done in this sprint is about are mostly fixing some issues, doing some usability improvements, and adding some information to the side panels and the service graph and also the service list. So here in the service graph screen, the first thing that you can see is that we have added a message that shows that there is no service graph or the service graph is empty for this namespace, which is the Istio system. Previously, when there was no graph to show, the page was just blank, which may be misleading to the end user. We are now showing this friendly message, and that's one usability improvement we have shown. We have added a little improvement in the layout of this page. Also, the refresh button is now to the right. Previously was here below the namespace drop down. We have now moved to the right. Next, what we can see is that now in the let's see if my computer handles right this because I have been having some load issues. Okay, my computer is a little under load. Let's see if it works. Okay. It didn't load correctly, but at least this can help me to show that we are now showing messages, error messages. when the graph fails to load. Previously, we weren't showing anything, so the user didn't know what was happening. And now we are showing these error messages. Let's see if it works now. That's my OpenShift cluster that is not working right. But yeah, this is my OpenShift cluster that is not working right. So let me see here. Okay, I will restart the OpenShift cluster because it's not working too right. It's a little under load. So let's see if that.
Okay, if it helps you getting back on track, we can have mass demo now, and you continue afterwards, if that helps you.
Yes, please, because it was working a little moments ago. So let me do the restart of the OpenShift and I will go back, please.
Okay, Mass, please take over.
Okay. Let me click share. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So this is going to be a quick one. I'm just going to show you when we install circuit breakers in our mesh. You're going to be able to see little badges show up to show you where the circuit breakers are installed. Right now, I don't have any circuit breakers. This is the book info demo. And what I will show is I have some scripts here. I'm just going to create some circuit breakers. So here I'm going to create one. Hold on a minute. This just worked 10 seconds ago. Okay, so I created a circuit breaker. I go over here, refresh my screen. Here, you notice a little lightning bolt. That is indicating that we have a circuit breaker whose destination is this reviews v1 service. So if I go and I create more, I have another script here that I'm going to create 2 more circuit breakers. You can see I created on the reviews v2 and the product page. Here you can see the badges show up here. So one thing you got to notice is notice the circuit breaker isn't on the entire reviews. It's only on specific versions here. That's why we're badging the nodes and not specifically the box, because we're actually showing that's where the circuit breakers are. And real quick, you can sort of notice that the dimming works, the panning works, going off screen works, zooming in and out works. This looks pretty blah, but that actually required some work to get all this to get done correctly. And finally, if I click, say I'll click this guy, and I'll go over here and I'll go to the service details page. You can see the side panel here. It gives you a link to it. Go over here, and you can see where the actual information is for the circuit breakers in our details page. So this is a way you can go in and look at more details about the circuit breaker that's installed on this service. And I guess lastly, I could do is I can remove them. I'm going to see them go away. Here I just deleted those last 2 I did. And you can see the badges have gone away. So the only circuit breaker I have left here is this one. If I go back here, go back to the details page, you can see there's no more circuit breakers, so the graph does reflect that. That's it.
Thank you, Mass. Edgar, are you back on track?
And the cluster is still starting up.
Okay, then Shuka, do you want to go?
Sure, yeah.
Cool.
So you can hear me, I know that, but can you see my screen? You should see GitHub.
It says you're sharing your screen.
Okay, so it's the wrong screen.
Now it's GitHub.
Okay, cool. Right, so my demo is only is about Katacoda. So I built a Katacoda scenario this week for open tracing. So Katacoda is a learning platform for to learn new technologies, so Docker and Istio and so on and so forth. And I'm building a scenario or a set of scenarios for open tracing. So we have 4 scenarios. This is based on Yuri's open tracing tutorial. And this is how, so it, when you create a new scenario, Katacoda installs a couple webhooks on your GitHub repo. And then you just create new directories, and each one of those is a scenario. So this is how a scenario looks like. We have here an intro. This is Markdown, and I can just start. So I started the scenario a couple minutes ago, so that it could finish installing everything and starting Jaeger. This is how it looks like. So it's an Markdown. So it's Markdown. It's a dialect of the actual Markdown, so it has more features. One of them is like this clickable clickable commands. So I can just click on this one here, and it executes on the terminal. I can also copy some code from the lesson to the editor, and then I can just run whatever I just had on the editor here. So the code for that is quite simple. So it basically is defined on an index.json file with a list of steps, and this is the text for the intro, which Markdown file to use, what is the code to execute on the background, if any, and perhaps some credits there. Similar for the last slide. So it's we define a Markdown file as well, which files you want open on the editor, and what is the layout for the lesson. In this case here we have an editor plus a terminal. So editor here on the upper side, and the terminal here on the lower side. And then we define also a dashboard. Like so we say that we want a link to the Jaeger UI on port X, and then we have here a Jaeger UI. We click on it, and we have access to a Jaeger deployment for my specific scenario, so for my lesson. So that's pretty much it. The only other thing perhaps, is that it's not only for copying directly to the editor. You can also copy it to the clipboard. You can have scripts to verify that the user is actually doing something right, so to verify the lesson. That's pretty much it.
Cool, thank you. So Edgar is ready to rock the boat part 2. So Edgar, go ahead.
Okay, let's see if this time works correctly. Okay, again, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, we are in the service graph. I was going to show the book info graph, and at least it shows correctly. Okay, we have some small improvements, some look and feel improvements, some bug fixes. The first thing I have in the list is that, well, the side panel, the namespace information now shows immediately after the service graph loads. Previously, we required to click on the background to be able to see this information. But now it appears right after the service graph. The second thing we fixed was an issue with the when changing a selection of a node or of an edge in the graph. Sometimes the side panel wasn't being updated correctly, but now it does. The next issue we fixed was a problem with the 30-day time span. I won't, sometimes this time range wasn't loading correctly, and now it does. It was a problem in backend, and we fixed it. The next thing we fixed was the layout changing or selection. Sometimes it was not changing correctly. It wasn't being updated. And now it updates correctly, as you can see. Okay, the next thing we improved was the well, not a real improvement, but no, we cannot move the nodes in the service graph. We can just select them. Previously, we were able to change the position of the nodes, both the nodes and the groups boxes, but this was leading to some problems because the user was able to drag a node and position inside of of a group box, and this was turning the graph a little confusing because it looked like a node was part of a group when it wasn't. So we also did some improvements in the log of the graph. You can see that the labels of the nodes are now in the middle. Previously, they were on the bottom of the node. And this is helping to avoid some overlapping some overlappings for the edge, and also to improve some readability. The labels on the edge, you can see that the numbers now auto-rotate. Previously, they were always horizontal, and that was affecting readability of the numbers. And also the level of the group boxes are now on the right and rotated. That's also avoiding some overlapping with the edges. You can see that also in the side panel the label badges are now in the headers. Previously they were in the body of the side panel. In the side panel we have also made some fixes regarding the links on the headers. We are now handling correctly the unknown source. Previously, the unknown source was being linked. A link was being shown, and that was wrong. Now the unknown source doesn't have a link because we don't have any data to show with regards to the unknown source. And also some linking issues with the services itself were fixed. What else I have? We also have improved okay, that the gas disappeared. Let's see if they come back. But we also fixed some consistency issues because the numbers in the table and also in the graph were not matching. Some were a little different, and that was being a little confusing for the end user because you didn't know if the data on the graph was correct or if the data on the service graph in the side panel was right. So that was fixed, and now the side panel and also the service graph show numbers that almost very similar or equal. What else I have? Okay, let's see if the page loads again. Oh. We close the. Okay, I will continue. I will just mention what some other things that well, we wait for my computer to come up. So I don't know if you saw it in my screen a moment ago, but these spark lines are now showing minimum and maximum request rates instead of showing the usual average request rates because that information was too redundant. We had it in the service graph, we have it in the table of the side panel, and we also had it in the spark lines. And let's see if this works again. Okay, I don't know if this is the browser or if this is the computer again. Okay, this time it was the browser, so it was not working. Right, so you can see that these numbers are now more consistent with what is being shown in the graph. And also here we have minimum and maximum request rates instead of duplicating the information we have in the tables. So that was a change that was done in the side panels. A little issue that we had was that the sidebar here in the left was not highlighting the right item. For example, if we come to services and we type directly this URL, or we bookmark it and we go directly to this URL, the sidebar was highlighting always initially the graph item. Right now it was correctly. So for example, if I refresh my browser, you can see that the right item is highlighted. And finally, a feature that was added is the error rate. You can see that we are now showing the error rate of each service. These are fake numbers. These are not real error rates because well, if I didn't place some fake numbers here, everything was going to be 0% error rate. But we can order by error rate. You can see that an icon is displayed when the error rate exceeds some threshold. You can see that a warning icon is displayed when the error rate is below some threshold. And you can see that also we show there still no request, and we show a green icon if there is a good error rate or also no request at all. Okay, that's all I had to show.
Thanks. I'll quickly stop and restart the recording, and then I'll show my my stuff, and then we can open the discussion.